Shay Russell for mining.com.au, and joining me today, fresh from site in fact, is Frazer Tabeart, the Managing Director for Alma Metals. Frazer, how are you?
I'm well, Shay. Thanks for having us on.
Yes, good to have you on. I hope your boots are still dusty because I believe you've been out in central Queensland on your Briggs Copper Project. Tell me, what was the Managing Director doing out there?
Well, having fun because we love looking at geology. So, now we've got a drilling program that's just about to kick off. So I was over there getting everybody inducted on site. We've got a new drilling company that's come out to work with us this year. So we're just about to kick off quite a significant infill drilling program on the very large Briggs Copper resource. So we're very much looking forward to that. I always like to get out there at the start of the program and then sort of go out there very regularly and try and look at every hole as it comes out of the ground.
Oh, well, I'm so glad you mentioned that because you've already got a JORC-compliant inferred resource and you're doing infill drilling. Let's get into the nerdy part of today's conversation. What does this infill drilling program look like?
Yeah, so we're basically drilling to about 80 metre centres, so line spacing of 80 metres. We're particularly targeting the top 200 to 300 metres of this deposit, and I guess that is a sort of a lead in to talk about the scale. The whole project, as it appears at the moment, based on surface geochemistry, indicates a mineralised system that's at least 2 kilometres long, probably a kilometre wide. And we've got drill intersections down to sort of 450, 500 metres vertical, and we haven't really found the edges of it yet. So it's a very, very large system. So whilst this is infill drilling, it's infill within a resource that's certainly going to grow. We're very confident that we could potentially double or triple the size of the existing resource. But the main focus of this program is that infill drilling, so that we've got information that will allow us to increase the JORC confidence to the indicated category, and that's information then that we can use as the basis for a scoping study, which we're going to kick off later this year.
Now, I believe that the infill drilling that you're doing right now is actually in a higher grade part of the resource. So as you said, this could significantly lift up the size of the resource later on in the year, couldn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So what we've noticed is that there appears to be a zone of higher grade, not just at surface, but through the entire vertical extent of the project, particularly around the contact between the intrusions that are bringing in the mineralisation and the rocks which host that mineralisation. So there seems to be a sort of an annulus of higher grade, and we picked that up in the last round of drilling. So what we're doing now is we're sort of moving on to the other side of the intrusive system that hasn't had that drilling done in the top 200 to 300 metres. So instead of average grades of sort of 0.25% copper, a lot of the drilling that we did last year was 0.3 to 0.4% copper, and that's a big difference, particularly for what could be starter pit positions. So if we can get that grade for the first 3 to 4 years of mining up to 0.35 rather than 0.25, it has a massive impact on the bottom line. And obviously that's something we'll look at in the scoping study in terms of mine scheduling, etc.
Now, I believe that Alma Metals is only in copper, and that would make you one of the few pure copper plays on the ASX, wouldn't it?
It certainly would. There's not very many. There's very few with such a large resource. And such a large resource that's at surface. And so we've got the potential for very low strip ratios, which means we can go for very efficient mining. Probably other key differentiator for us is we're in central Queensland, but more specifically we're only 60 kilometres to the west of the deepwater port of Gladstone, and we're immediately north of an infrastructure corridor that's got road, rail, power, gas pipelines. Pretty much all of the key large-scale infrastructure that you'd need to develop a project of this scale is already there. So that will speed things up. It'll cut costs down on upfront capital and will presumably allow for much lower operating costs as well, because the infrastructure is already there. So it gives a huge amount of optionality on the project, and it's quite unusual to have this combination of large-scale, low strip ratio, great infrastructure, and great mining jurisdiction. You're usually missing one or two of those. We've got them all. That's quite unique, and therefore, a really good opportunity for this project.
Oh, listen, Fraser, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was about to sum up exactly that because it is a unique situation that the company finds itself in to have access to all of that. But tell me, obviously, you've got infill drilling underway. When will we get a look at those results?
Well, hopefully we'll be drilling within the next day or two. I've literally just talked to the guys on site that they're expecting to be drilling by the weekend. Um, yeah, it normally takes us 2 weeks or so to drill each hole, and then another, anywhere between 3 and 6 weeks at the lab. So we'd be expecting, preliminary results through in early August, and then a steady string of news flow. As we go through, we're planning to drill sort of between 8 and 10 holes in this part of the program. So we should expect to see assay results sort of flowing very regularly from August onwards, almost out to the end of the year.
Well, you've got a busy winter season and obviously out to the end of the year coming up. Listen, Fraser, I want to say thank you very much for being here today, but also too, it's clear you've got a great furniture choices. We have the exact same cupboards.
Absolutely.
We didn't get a chance to talk about it on camera, but Alma Metals will be attending the Gold Coast Investment Showcase starting the 19th of June. To register, go to mining.com.au, click on the events tab and register your details from there.